Hello, it's the first week of October here in Brisbane. My name is Jordan Hubbard.
And my name is Tegan Laszlo, and this is Real World News. Here are your headlines.
There has been another shock in New South Wales politics today after Deputy Premier and Nationals leader John Barilaro announced his resignation. His departure follows the sudden resignation of former Premier Gladys Berejiklian when she became the centre of a corruption investigation launched on Monday.
In global financial news, a team of investigative journalists say a number of high-profile politicians and celebrities have been hiding their wealth in banks around the globe. Portions of that report, which we know as the Pandora Papers, have been leaked, but the full report is due out any day now.
In COVID news, Australia is due to hit a vaccination milestone this week, with just 85,000 more jabs needed before 80% of the eligible Australian population have at least their first dose. Almost 4 million people have received jabs in the past fortnight.
In related news, QUT Professor Lydia Maraska has been named one of the world's 100 most influential people by Time magazine. Fairly early on, Professor Maraska's research revealed that COVID-19 was being transmitted as an airborne virus.
Also from QUT, painter William Robinson has a new exhibition underway in Gardens Point. The body of work is called Nocturne and explores his vision of the night sky. The show is currently underway at the William Robinson Gallery in Old Government House.
A big weekend in sport for the Penrith Panthers, who claimed the 2021 NRL Premiership trophy with a 14-12 win over the South Sydney Rabbitohs. It is the third premiership for the Sydney club and the first since their win in 2003. Penrith playmaker Nancy Cleary was awarded the Clive Churchill Medal, while his father Ivan Cleary won his first premiership as Penrith coach.
Those are your headlines. Checking the markets now. Here is our Wall Street report.
This is Real World News. My name is Paige Van Lunteren and it's time to mind your business. First up, yesterday was a tough day on Wall Street. The S&P 500 has had its worst day of trading since May and finished by sliding 75 points. This is partly out of fear of a potential crash in China's real estate market. All eyes are focused on Evergrande, one of China's largest real estate developers, who are yet to find out if the government will bail them out with creditors. This has commentators asking if this is China's Lehman Brothers moment, echoing the 2008 GFC. And Australia's largest pipeline owner, APA, has made a non-binding proposal to acquire AusNet, an Australian energy company. The proposal offers $2.6 a share and trumps Brookfield's offer by 10 cents. APA Chief Executive Rob Wills says the takeover presents an opportunity to provide an Australian-controlled combined group listing on the ASX. Finally, overnight, Victoria's construction industry is facing a 2-week shutdown at a cost of billions of dollars per week. The shutdown was triggered by a violent protest against a government mandate requiring all construction workers to have at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine by the 23rd of September. An angry crowd of 500 protesters gathered outside CFMEU headquarters in Melbourne, throwing a crate and bottles at Construction Secretary John Setka. Checking the markets, the Dow Jones closed down by 614 points, the Nasdaq closed down by 330 points, and the ASX 200 is currently trading down by 54 points. That's us minding your business. I'm Paige Van Lunteren. See you next time.
After a weekend of heavy rains, we must remember that this is storm season. Here's a look at your weather.
Hello Brisbane. Let's get started with the national weather today. Darwin, sunny with clouds, 36. Cairns, late thunderstorm, 31. Expect some sunshine in Brisbane at 23, but some rain in Sydney at 17. Canberra and Melbourne both cold with a chance of snow at 6, and definitely snow in Hobart with 5 degrees. Adelaide, morning drizzle but clearing, 14. Perth, warm and 25, and Alice Springs, sunny and hot, 35. Closer to home, Sunshine Coast can expect a partly cloudy day with 27, Brisbane, a sunny day and 28, and the Gold Coast may get a storm later today with a temperature of 26. And the outlook for Brisbane this weekend is cloudy on Friday, a possible storm on Saturday, clearing into another glorious day on Sunday. My name is Almira Azam, and that is your weather forecast. See you next time.
The COVID-19 pandemic forced Brisbane's Greater Public Schools Association to shorten its rugby season. The finals just finished recently. Tom Brandt has the report.
The final round of the Greater Public Schools First 15 rugby competition took place over the weekend, with St Joseph's Nudgee College claiming their 43rd GPS premiership. COVID restrictions meant each school only played 5 games, as opposed to the 8 that would be scheduled in a regular season. The final round of action saw Nudgee defeat Ipswich Grammar School 17 points to 13 on their home turf. The victory was Nudgee's 5th of the season and was enough to keep them 3 points clear of Anglican Church Grammar School, who finished in 2nd place on the competition ladder. The final round also saw a number of other close games. Brisbane State High School travelled up the range to take on Toowoomba Grammar School, but were defeated 21 points to 19. The Southport School finished their season with a strong away win, defeating St Joseph's Gregory Terrace 29 points to 12 at Tennyson. In the final match of the round, Anglican Church Grammar School put up a strong performance to defeat Brisbane Grammar School 34 points to 10 at Northgate. That's our GPS Rugby wrap-up. Back to you.
Flooding, wildfires, urban growth. These are just some of the many things threatening the koala population here in southeast Queensland. Reporter Patrick Heaney speaks to QUT oncologist Grant Hamilton about efforts to count and track their fading numbers.
Now, in my mind, Grant, nature and technology are seemingly distinct ideas, different fields of work. Can you first tell me how you combine these two ideas to start using drones to monitor animals?
First of all, people used their eyes to look for animals, of course. It's the most obvious thing to do. But then we started using telescopes, we started using binoculars. All of these stages helped us to monitor better. And what we're doing now is using leading edge technology to cover vastly more areas, to process the data more quickly, and ultimately to be more accurate.
What's so special about these drones? You mentioned, or I've heard about thermal imaging and the work of AI in that. Can you walk me through thermal imaging first, and then how an AI takes these thermal images and produces a number of animals at the other end?
So the drones themselves are simply the workhorses. They fly. They carry whatever you put underneath them. So the value of having a drone is the perspective. You're in the air rather than on the ground. The thermal sensor it carries will detect heat energy from the animals that we're looking for. And the nice thing about that is that it can break through the canopy, and it's easier to detect than simply the spectrum that we usually see. The artificial intelligence, on the other hand, is quite complex, and you need to train that to look for particular things. And at the end of a lot of training, you end up with an accurate algorithm that can find, for example, koalas.
And how have you been training this AI?
So they draw bounding boxes around the things that are koalas, and they have images of things that aren't koalas. And so what the thermal imagery, the algorithm might say, well, you know, there's a blob, is it a koala? And we would say, no, that's a car engine. And so you go through and you train it with what is a koala and what isn't a koala.
Technology. How do these drones compare to traditional on-the-ground methods in terms of maybe cost, the area you can cover, and then obviously accuracy?
The drones themselves seem to be quite expensive. The combination of the drone plus the sensor will cost you about the same as a car, say. But when you consider you need to pay people every single time to go out and survey a much smaller area, it becomes obvious after a while that having these kind of workhorses that can cover large areas, it rapidly becomes much more efficient. So there's an initial large cost, but that is defrayed over years as you continue to use them. So we need to understand the places to protect, where the animals are, and how to keep connection between those places.
No worries, Grant. That's about all we've got time for today. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we cut it off?
No, thanks, Pat.
No worries at all. That's all for QUT News today. My name is Pat Heaney. See you next time.
After a quiet COVID winter, the theatres on South Bank are finally coming back to life. Among the shows underway is Ishmael, a modern take on the old Herman Melville classic Moby Dick. Our own Amelia Jackson has the behind-the-scenes look.
Starting this week, a multimedia theatre production called Ishmael will start its 2-week run here at QPAC. The program, which is a futuristic remake of American classic Moby Dick, stars a 3-person cast and uses miniature puppet cutouts to simulate space travel. Earlier today, we had a look at the innovative twist on the old classic. Here's what we saw.
Name, call me Ishmael. Full no space for 2 names. I only have one. Next!
This is a look inside QPAC's Cremorne Theatre, and we are looking at the stage for Ishmael. In the centre is a large flat panel screen with stage objects in the foreground. If you look stage left and stage right, you will see lighting and green screens. During their performance, the actors take turns doing stagecraft. They move miniature buildings and spaceships which appear in real time enlarged on the flat panel centre stage. We also had a chance to talk to the actors in the performance. 2 are QUT alums, Ellen Bailey and Patrick Janor.
Of it is that these 2 strong characters are represented by females, which is an absolute treat as an actor to step into these roles, but also an interesting exploration of how women placed in a world that is overwrought with violence. And what I love about it is there's such strength and gusto and power to these women that David has written. A deep vulnerability, but also an immense strength which you get to see them grapple with.
Behind the scenes, the director is David Morton, and the modelling and the stage design are elements created by the Dead Puppet Society, a production company based here in Brisbane.
In the original novel Moby Dick, the whole thing is more or less about mankind's relationship with the natural world, and in that novel, it's like a thing that's so vast it can't be understood, and there's so much to it that it seems like it's this limitless resource for us to use, to exploit, and I think so. Yeah, in our reimagining, we have flipped, I guess, that thematic that is in Moby Dick on its head and gone, do you know what? The resources are limited, in fact so limited that they're all gone.
Ishmael runs from September 3rd to September 18th. Of course, tickets are on sale now. I'm Amelia Jackson reporting for Real World News. I'll see you next time.
That's the news here in Brisbane. My name is Jordan Hubbard.
And my name is Tegan Laszlo. This is Real World News. See you next time.